Economist Deepanshu Mohan joins us from the OP Jindal Global University. Tell us, what is this really about? Is it about Russian oil and trying to stop the war in Ukraine, or is this more about Trump trying to get a better trade deal with India?
Okay, thank you. Thank you for having me here. I think it's a bit of both. Clearly, the current penalty of 25% that the US has announced is a direct penalty for India buying its oil extensively from Russia. And the Trump administration was mentioning of this over the last few days. There are two goals, of course, clearly as part of the current effort. One is to, as part of Trump's maximalist agenda, use tariffs as much as possible to get India to get a deal which allows US to have a larger trade surplus. India-US trade relationship extends to $132 billion. Just last year, the trade with India exporting far more than what it imports from the US. So clearly Trump's agenda here is to get as much of access to the Indian market. The first round of trade negotiations did not go as planned. So clearly the Trump administration gave India a chance or an opportunity to strike a deal. Because that did not happen because of India's vulnerabilities in areas of agriculture, dairy, you have now a situation where the first 25% was done to give that project. But now I think it's a bit of also an attack to discourage India's growing relationship with Russia of its energy needs.
So is there anything India can do besides weaning itself off Russian oil?
Well, I think it would have to find a way to strike a deal with the US, even if there is a bandwidth for the Indian government to do a more extensive economic partnership with China or Russia for that matter. India has strategically remained more non-aligned, but the India-US relationship goes beyond trade. India's investment markets are very strongly tied to American businesses. There are many areas where India can actually offer a lot more to the US. In fact, there is a growing appetite for American technology, weapons platforms, defense, and there is a huge interdependence where India can add those sweeteners for the US to have a lot in the stake for a trade deal to happen. It's important to mention there is a 21-day period given to the Indian government before the penalty gets applied. So clearly, the Trump administration wants a deal, but it would have to come at the cost of having to do a little bit more on the India-Russia oil partnership. And I think the refiners are already looking at multiple options because it's no longer going to be as cheap buying in from Russia. There are enough options, in fact. India has 85% of its oil needs in imports. It does a lot of oil trade with Iraq, UAE. It now has partnerships with Guyana, Canada, and the US as well. In fact, and that would be one of the areas that India can definitely offer more.
Well, if it does have so many options, why has India become so dependent on Russia, not only for oil, but also weapons?
Yeah, so I think that's an area which now India would be sort of strongly pushed to introspect. I amongst a few scholars, I've written that India was over-dependent, clearly for market reasons, in expanding its relationship on energy. It used to trade less than 2% of its oil needs from Russia before the Ukraine war. Now it's over 35-40%. So that relationship has grown out of a sort of a market for energy dependence. But having said that, India is also has seen Russia as an ally and friend for many, many decades. So it's not a relationship which it would want to suddenly dissipate. And the Biden administration before had not taken an aggressive stance on India, which now the Trump administration clearly has called India out on. And there is a growing, impatience with the Trump administration with the Russia situation as well. So my sense is that it would be wise for India to find a way to make a deal with the US. There might be compromises, of course, but going and pivoting completely away from the US would alienate itself far
Okay.
more as compared to where it stands now.
Economist Deepanshu Mohan, thank you very much for your analysis.